So thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So recently with China's hypersonic missile test, how significant is that?
Well, I agree with General Milley. He said it's almost a Sputnik moment. Other people have said this is a game changer.
So how is it a game changer?
Our Air Force Secretary, Frank Kendall, he explained this very well about 2 weeks ago. There's something called fractional orbital bombardment system. And it means you launch a nuclear weapon or any kind of weapon into space, into orbit, and it stays there. Then you tell it to come in and destroy something. And it can come from any direction. So missile defense or preparations don't work against it. In fact, there's almost no warning time. This is the shock value. It's a shock weapon.
So do you see this recent hypersonic missile test as kind of a wake-up call to America? Because you kind of mentioned in the 100-year marathon that China kind of hides its long-term strategy. So do you think this will serve as a wake-up call or no?
It should, but it won't. It's not enough. In 100-year marathon, what I talk about is an ancient Chinese proverb called "Don't ask the weight of the cauldrons." 不问鼎的中计. Don't ask the weight of the cauldrons. This is a kingdom that showed its ambition to take over all of China when the leader said to an envoy, "How much do those cauldrons weigh?" In the palace, the emperor had 9 cauldrons. This went on for many dynasties. So asking this question meant I'm full of ambition to take over the world. So the Chinese very, very wisely have always played down. We have no such ambition. So this missile test, the Chinese spokesman said, no, this is not a missile. It's not a weapon. It's a spacecraft, kind of like a space shuttle. It goes around the Earth, nothing to it. And many people in America believe this kind of story. They don't want trouble with China. So it will not serve as a wake-up call, no.
So what do you think it will take for America to really wake up or just shift its stance towards China?
Well, the main thing is something like Pearl Harbor, where the debate about Japan had been going on for several years. Japan is our friend. There's some moderates in Japan. Our ambassador said he knew the Navy key person had gone to Harvard and been a Japanese naval attaché in Washington. So he was working with the moderates and this gentleman, his name is Yamamoto, Admiral Yamamoto. In secret, he was the war planner for the Pearl Harbor attack. So when the Americans on Sunday, by surprise, find their ships sunk in Pearl Harbor, 3,000 dead Navy people, then they woke up about Japan. And all this discussion about the debate about Japan is over. Now it's time for war for 3 years. So if China directly attacks an American aircraft carrier, that's about 5,000 sailors on board, then yes, that's a wake-up call. But the Chinese know this. They're not stupid. They know to avoid direct conflict and avoid a wake-up call. And today I believe some Chinese have told me they think 30% of the Americans are anti-China now. These public opinion polls that say 70%, that's really not enemy. It's really China's unfriendly or I don't trust them. But those people are still willing to invest in China, buy Chinese products. So we're nowhere near a wake-up call.
And what are some ways people can kind of learn about the real threat?
They can read 100-Year Marathon, but even 100-Year Marathon, the Chinese military translated it into Chinese, the National Defense University Press of China, and they had a ceremony for me in Beijing. They said, this is our translation. It was perfect, every word. They had a lady colonel with a PhD in charge of translating the book, 100-Year Marathon. And their view of this book is, well, only one American has kind of understood us, but most do not. So, and I believe this is correct. I believe it's only a small minority, and even the minority only wants to say rhetorical things. China is irresponsible. They don't really do anything. There are now about 60 pieces of legislation, 60 bills against China, even asking for a report on how much are we helping China today, but many other pieces of legislation. You know the number of co-sponsors for most of these bills in the Senate? It's 100 senators make up the Senate. When I was a Senate staffer, we all knew how to get 51 or 60 senators. All of these bills, all of them, have about 5 or 6 co-sponsors. It means 95 senators, Tiffany, are not signing up to sponsor this legislation. It's very bad. Almost nothing passes that's really against the rise of China. Even the idea to subpoena Dr. Fauci or Peter Daszak. It's a Wall Street Journal editorial 2 days ago. Where's the subpoena? Nothing happened. So I believe the Chinese are still succeeding. And if they make a mistake, like Pearl Harbor was a mistake for the Japanese, they realize now it was a huge mistake. They thought the Americans would accept the Pearl Harbor attack. So only if China makes a big mistake. Look at the Uyghurs genocide claim. Trump says it, Biden says it. Genocide. Is that the kind of country we should have the Olympics with? We're going to have the Olympics with a genocide committing country. Nobody cares.
So, if it's not just waiting for China to mess up, is there anything America can do to kind of stop it?
There's many things America can do to stop it. The Republicans in the House of Representatives have a China task force. They produced a report. It had 400 recommendations. Many members of the House have also picked out part of it and proposed it as legislation. What happened, Tiffany? It didn't pass. The independent bills didn't pass. Many of them, most of them, don't even have committee hearings. Yes. So there's 400 recommendations. Now, I came down here to Orlando back in March to speak to all the Republican congressmen. I encouraged them and they agreed. You need to do this again. Don't just stop and give up. Try to see what can be passed in the future. But we don't have a national. Nancy Pelosi refuses to do anything about all of this. She told all the Democrats, do not join the task force on China. So does this mean American Congress is excited about the China threat? Absolutely not. Rhetoric, yes. Go on TV? Absolutely. Say that China's bad? Yes. But can something actually pass and become law? As the Wall Street Journal said a couple days ago, where's the subpoena about all the money going into the Wuhan laboratory? Here's 4 million dead, Tiffany. Where's the subpoena? People didn't even know about the program with the Wuhan laboratory. In this book, I describe many, many programs to help China we still have. If you go to the U.S. Embassy website, U.S. Embassy Beijing has a website. It says this is the largest embassy in the world because we're so friendly with China. 2,300 officials work in the embassy. 50 government agencies, it says, are helping China.
So, over the years, what made you change your stance towards the Communist Party?
Because so much progress is made by China, I realize that American primacy is going to be eclipsed by China. It's just results on the ground. We're going to have a Chinese-led world order. And a lot of people are making a lot of comments now about, oh, this is a bad thing. But I think they secretly know there's nothing the U.S. is going to do to stop it. It's shocking.
Thank you.
you.